Welcome to Breakthrough Ideas in Training webinar series. My name is Evan Hackle. I am the chairman of Total Training. I am thrilled and delighted to have with me John Gordon, who is the Chief Energy Officer of the John Gordon Company and the author of The Energy Bus plus many other great books. John, I know a lot about you and I'm thrilled, but would you share with everyone a little bit about yourself, your background, and sort of your area of expertise?
Sure. My name is John Gordon. I'm a writer, a speaker. I get to work with a lot of Fortune 500 companies, sports teams, school districts, and nonprofits. My main core message is positive leadership and how to build a great culture with that positive leadership. The kind of culture where people perform at their highest level, people are engaged at work, they love coming to work, they're driven by purpose, and they're also a team and an organization that is able to overcome adversity, challenges, negativity, and setbacks that all teams and organizations face. So how do we deal with those challenges? How do we overcome them? And how do we become a stronger team because of that? Initially, it was just about the energy bus, but then I started writing other books about culture and then about excellence. And then my latest one, The Carpenter, is about loving, serving, and caring, and how those are the three greatest strategies of all to grow a business.
Okay, so I want to start here with your beginning, which is the energy bus. And
Right.
I want to share with everyone here, uh, people always ask me, what is the number one book if you're going to recommend any book on business? And I always tell them the same thing, The Energy Bus.
Thank you.
And I do believe it is the core of a good business to have people that are positive and are working in a positive environment. So I want to just ask you, how did you come up with the idea? What was the impetus of coming up? And just maybe I should say for people that don't know about the book, why don't you tell people about the book? I could tell them, but you'd be probably better at it than I would. Just give
Yeah.
people a brief synopsis of it, and then get into sort of maybe how you thought it and where.
Sure. Well, first, I'm not naturally a positive person. I grew up in Long Island, New York, in a Jewish Italian family. A lot of food, a lot of guilt, a lot of wine, a lot of whining. And I think growing up in the family I grew up in, I wanted to be a more positive person. And so as I got older, I started to pursue it. I faced a lot of challenges, a lot of negativity in myself and in my own life. And so I really wanted to be the best version of myself. So that would lead me to do all this research on positive psychology, ways I could be more positive. This was during the emerging field of positive psychology. It was just beginning. So I started taking some of the research I found, I started putting into practice. And I started to see a big impact in my life. I then wrote The Energy Bus after walking one day, thinking about writing a fable, and bam, the idea just came to me. Energy Bus, about a bus driver who changes the life of a passenger. It's about a guy named George who's miserable and negative. His team at work is in disarray. He has problems at home, and he's just fed up with life. And he was really easy to write about because he was based on me. And
Oh,
so,
wow.
yes, yeah, it was really easy to write. So he has this important meeting to get to. He walks inside, asks his wife to take him to work, and she won't. That was based on personal experience as well. So then he has to take the bus to work. And he gets on the bus and he meets Joy, the bus driver. And she calls him Sugar. And she and a cast of characters teach him the 10 rules for the ride of his life that not only help him become a more positive leader, but a better father, a better husband. And it's about getting his team on the bus and moving in the right direction with it, with a shared vision, focus, and purpose. And at the core, it's about someone who has to overcome all the adversity, all the challenges, all the negativity to ultimately define himself and his team's success. And it's about the power of positivity, the kind of optimism and belief in positivity that transforms organizations and teams. The research shows that positivity is a skill. I mean, we can develop it. And we're not talking about Pollyanna positive, right? So often the power of positive thinking,
Yeah.
right, gets a bad rap. We're talking about the kind of positivity that builds winning teams. So the latest research shows that optimistic salespeople outperform pessimistic salespeople. We know positive leaders are better able to garner the support of their team and move them in the right direction. We know that people experience more positive emotions. They're able to see the big picture. They're able to get through the problems and the challenges, to identify solutions in order to create a brighter and better future. Whereas if you're negative, you focus on the problems, and it's so hard to get out of that rut. And then we know that teams that have more positive interactions versus negative interactions, so positive to negative, those teams start to flourish. They start to perform at a higher level. So what we do is we work with organizations help develop positive leaders, help develop an organization that has more positive interactions. We help build positive winning teams. And when you start to do that, you start to see an organization that flourishes. And the best part of all is I've worked with a lot of sports teams, NFL, NBA,
Oh,
college teams. You see these principles happen, firsthand. You see them work firsthand in that environment. And you know if you can win in the locker room, you win on the field and the court. You know if you win in the office, you then win in the marketplace. And the same principles apply.
okay. I have to ask you, can you share at least one story about work with a sporting team?
Sure, sure. I was just on the NFL network doing a podcast with one of their analysts talking about the same exact story. It's a great one in dealing with negativity. It's a great one in dealing with energy vampires. We all have them in our organizations. We have them in our schools, our businesses, and our sports teams. So Mark Richt, University of Georgia football coach, called me about 4 years ago. He had the entire team read the energy bus, and then I went and spoke to the team. After I spoke, they lost the first two games. I
Wow.
thought, yeah, not good if you're a speaker. I thought I ruined them. So after the second loss, I sent Coach a text. I said, Coach, I still believe in you guys. He sent me a text back. He said, John, the guys are staying positive. They're still on the bus. In years past, we've allowed energy vampires to sabotage our team, but not this year. This year, we won't allow it. In their big meeting room, they put a huge picture of an energy vampire on the wall. And
Yeah.
anytime the players was being a vampire, they took the player's picture and they put it on the wall. No one wanted to be on the wall. Now, I'm not saying people should do this in their offices, right? Employee of the
Yeah.
month, vampire of the month. I'm not saying they should do that. But what I am saying is they were a team that stayed positive together. And they said, we're not going to allow negativity to sabotage the work that we're here to do, our mission and our team dynamic and our team environment. We're not going to allow that. They went on to win the next 10 games in a row, making it to the SEC championship. Powerful impact. It's happened over and over again with the organizations I've worked with. Even a school district, principal told me that they said, hey, I want everyone on my bus. Several people didn't get on the bus. Well, they talked to those people and they were very negative. They were vampires. And now they found another bus for those teachers to be on. Leaders do this all the time in the business world. They invite people on the bus and they find out who's engaged. Now, it doesn't give you the right, though, as a leader to just say, hey, you're on my bus or you're off. I want to make that clear
Right.
because sometimes I get emails from people saying, my boss gave us the energy bus and they're not living it. You have to be someone who lives it. You first get people to get on your bus through being a great leader, by loving them, by engaging them, by coaching them and mentoring them and guiding them and developing a relationship with them. And if you do all those things as a great leader and you are someone they want to follow, then if they're negative, then if they're sabotaging, if they're not willing to change, then you have to let them off the bus. They'll sabotage the team. But you do everything you can at first to get them on. But if they're not willing and they're sabotaging the team, you have to let them off.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to share with people that, I love the book and I consult. And one of the first things I generally do with the team is have everyone read the book. I downloaded and bought your leader guide, which is very, very, very helpful. And it really changes the conversation. Because when you want to have people having positive conversation, if you have these people that are these energy vampires that just can't help themselves, when they read the book and they talk, it's sort of like gets them to kind of, hey, you know what, I'm the vampire and I'm going to do better. And to your point, if they do better, that's great.
Right.
But I'll just share one other point. I have two companies. I have Total Training, which is the one sponsoring this event. I have Engage Consulting, where we do engagement work primarily in the franchise space, better relationships, franchisor, franchisee. The day that our company bought Total Training, the first thing I had every employee do was read the energy bus.
Thank you.
Because I said, you know what, with any transition, there's nervousness, there's lack of trust, they're doomsayers, and I wanted to start everything off right. And, which I love. But here's the thing I constantly hear about the energy bus from people is I get it, I love it, but I've got so many people I want to give the book to. This person needs the book, okay? But they're not necessarily in their control within the organization, et cetera. How do you create that positive culture within an organization when you don't have the control over the whole organization?
Well, I've had a lot of people just start to share the book around with people they believe should read it. So I've had people, frontline workers, share it up with managers, managers that have read it, share it with senior vice presidents sharing with CEOs. That's how the book is spread. You know, when it came out, it was rejected by over 30 publishers at first. And I had,
Really?
yeah, it was rejected by a lot of publishers. I had to go on a 28 city tour, you know, sharing the message in the book after it came out. None of the bookstores would carry it. So I had to live and breathe the message in the book of dealing with negativity and just staying positive on the journey, sharing the message one person at a time. But that's what happened after that 28 city tour. One person shared it with another, who shared it with another, who shared it with another. And now we're almost at 1 million copies sold of this book because it's such an important message. I mean, I'm so thankful that it's getting out there because that was my passion and purpose when I wrote it. It's why I went on this tour, paid for it with myself. Publisher wouldn't even pay for it because I was an unknown author. But I truly believe that it was something that can transform teams and organizations. So you share it around, and now we also have, you know, we have videos that organizations use to share the message. We have a DVD program that we created, and we also, my publisher just created an animated training program where each person goes through the program after reading the book, and they start to incorporate the positivity in their own life. They start to see themselves in the story. They change their
Yeah.
perspective, shift their behavior. But if you're, you know, if you're not in control, fire or hire, remember, you have to just drive your bus. You make your bus great. You may not be driving the big bus, you might be driving
Right.
the minibus, but you make that bus great, and you invite people on that bus, and you influence people around you. And when you do that, that leads to more influence and a bigger bus over time. I always say the energy bus is ever expanding. So you start impacting people where you are, and then the impact grows and the influence grows to reach others.
Yeah. And when you follow the principles, people mirror you. They respond to you in that way, which is huge. I also want to point out you have a book called The Energy Bus for Children,
Yes.
and I took your book and I bought the ones for the, I had at the time I did this was quite a few years ago. I had a 9-year-old and I had to read your kid's book, and then at that time I guess I had like an 18 and a 16. I had them read the full book, and we had family discussions about the book, which was really, and it's an incredible message for kids. And I know this isn't about kids, so we won't spend too much time there.
But it's fun.
But yeah, it is fun, and you
It's
should
fun
feel
and
very
rewarding.
proud of.
Yeah, it's fun and rewarding, you know, because it's the kind of book where, you know, people see me speak in a business. I'll even have, you know, presidents, CEOs, you know, human resource, heads of human resource, heads of training. Hey, took your book home, using it at home, and wow, it's making an impact in my family. Our kids are now reading the Energy Bus for Kids, impacting there. And honestly, that's actually some of the most rewarding emails that I get from people to know we're impacting in the home, because you know my journey started in the home. I wanted to be a positive driver in my home when I wrote the Energy Bus. That's why it's about a guy who's dealing with home issues and work issues like we all
Yeah.
do, and how do we overcome both of those through our positive influence in the people we lead. You know, when you become a positive leader, you don't just make yourself better, you make everyone around you better, and it's important to remember that.
Well, I'll tell you, my middle son is a professional skier, and he is unbelievably positive person. He
Wow.
radiates positiveness. Credits your book for a lot of it.
Wow.
He talks about your book, and this is the truth. I buy your book generally 10, 20 at a time because I'm using them with
Thank,
clients.
thank you.
Okay, I might be your number one customer. You just didn't even know it. But anyhow, I have friends of my son who say, Alex keeps talking about this Energy Bus book. Do you have a copy I can borrow? Which is really cool that, that's how much he loves the book. So, the book is truly I say that, and people, by the way, will see me interview a lot of people. I've not said that about any other book. It's not like I'm saying every author, your book is life changing. There are a lot of other good books in this series, lots of them, but
Yeah.
is this so? Let me ask you this question. I be more positive. Sort of walk through the how do you start? I assume start with you read the book yourself,
No.
but take it from there. How you would then introduce this into an organization?
So how do you be more positive first? Can we start there?
Sure.
Sure. So first it starts with you, right? You have to demonstrate it, you have to lead it. So I'm not even talking about reading the book first. I think the first thing you do is start taking a walk of gratitude, a thank you walk every day. Something I did 13 years ago when I wanted to be more positive as a person. My wife said to me, "You're miserable, you're negative, and I love you, but if you don't change, you're off the bus." So I wanted to change. And so I started taking these walks of gratitude. It was something I came up with. And each day I would walk, I would practice gratitude. The research shows you're flooding your brain and your body with these positive emotions that uplift you rather than the stress hormones that slowly drain you. And we can't be stressed and thankful at the same time. So every day you do this, over time, you create a fertile mind that is ready for great things, ready for success. You become a more positive person. You become more resilient to stress. You become more optimistic. You're ready to take on the day in a greater way. Doesn't happen right away, takes a week, a month, a year. But think about if you do this for a year, every day, or almost every day. You're going to miss a few here and there. I can tell when I do, right? Over
Yeah.
time, you mold your brain to be more positive. You begin to change your brain function and how you think, and ultimately your perspective and how you see the world. Because how you see the world determines the world you see. So it first starts with you, and then you start to live it. You start to breathe it.
Yeah, John, if I could just interrupt with one thing. At our household, my wife, and this has nothing to do with your book, but has to do with what you're talking about, has us start every dinner with each person sharing three good things that happened with us today.
It's great.
And she does it because she says, I want you to live life through the filter, not the filter of sadness. And
Mm,
that we don't tend to look for happiness. And it's sort of to your idea of the walk of gratitude and thinking about those things. And so I just thought I would share that with you.
I love
But
that. I love that she does that. And I love the way you just said filter. She said the filter, right? Because
yeah,
how you see it. Is it a challenge or is it an opportunity? When my kids were young, and I wrote this in the Energy Bus, but one of the things the character does is he starts asking his kids before bed what their success of the day is. So what was the
yeah.
one great thing that happened that day? Because at the end of the day, what do we usually do? Oh, this went wrong. This didn't go right. That meeting went bad. No. What went right? What was the one great meeting? The one great interaction? The one light bulb that came on that day? And the more you focus on the good things, the more you see the good things, guess what? You look forward to tomorrow. You look forward to recreating that again and again. You look for the positive. And so I think it's great that they do that. Great organizations, they focus on the successes, they focus on the victories, they focus on the triumphs. They learn from their mistakes. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
they learn from their challenges, but they focus on the great things. And the small wins eventually lead to the big wins. But sharing this in the organization really starts with a vision. Now, I think it's important when you're becoming positive, you then have to share a positive vision for your team and your organization. And when you do that, you then can start rallying people towards that vision. And then you ask each person on your team and your organization, okay, here's the vision. How do you want to contribute to it? How do you believe you can contribute to it? And then most importantly, how can I help you? How can I help you be your best? And how can I help you contribute to the vision and do your best work? So now it's not just about you doing something, it's about engaging them to be right there with them, to coach and guide them through the process. And that's
Yeah.
where leadership happens. That's where great teamwork happens.
Yeah. No doubt about it. Um, so you've done all of that. How do you keep it alive after? How do you keep it not just once and done?
Right. Well, that's why we do training. I mean, that's why training is so important. Keynotes alone aren't going to do it. And I do a lot of keynotes, but I know well and good that there has to be follow up. There has to be training that helps people take action, that helps ingrain the culture and the belief and the mindset and the behaviors into daily life, into daily work. Who are we? What do we want to be known for? What do we stand for? How do we live and breathe this every day? So you want to make sure you reinforce it. A lot of the great organizations I've worked with, they've done it. I often say that the genius is not on stage, it's in the audience. I learned so much from the companies that have utilized the Energy Bus and how they've done it. So we have tons of best practices. I'm definitely going to do a best practice summit at some point because there's so many organizations doing different things. UPS, for instance, rolled out the Energy Bus in the Northwest region to their 1,000 leaders, who then rolled it out to their 12,000 drivers. And they simply focused on one thing: more positive reinforcement and more positive interactions and comments and praise. That was it. And sure enough, they saw morale go up engagement went up, absenteeism went down, and their numbers went up. For the first time, I actually had a company that measured the results. I've been hearing a lot about it, but I saw it. So doing different practices that highlight the actions and behaviors in the book is key. Energy vampires, making sure there's a way that we talk about it. We deal with the negativity that can sabotage our team. We talk about the impact of negativity on our organization. So you bring that to light from a cultural standpoint. And then we do the 10 rules and we put them into practice. I have companies that give chief energy officer awards out to people in their company now as a way to highlight. There's organizations that do a book study with the book. They do one rule, at a time. And now with the Energy Bus training program, with the animated program we have, that's even going to be more powerful to help organizations make it a part of each person who works there so that they can now ingrain that mindset, that belief, and that positivity into how they approach every day at work.
So let's talk about the animated series. How does that work? Is it a long program, short program? Is it something done in group, done individually?
Right. If you took it all the way straight through of just doing the videos, the animated videos, it's 45 minutes. But you watch a video and then there's interaction during the video. The company that did it is just incredible. And then the animation is amazing. It's cartoon, but it's so cool how they took the characters from the book and brought it to life. So you watch that, then you answer some questions, and then there's some actions that you need to take. So you can break down and do one rule per week. You could do one rule per month if you're an organization. You can go through the whole program as part of just a training course and go through all 10 rules with a facilitator guiding you or someone within the company. It doesn't need to be us. It can be someone in your company. Just help guide the people as they're going through it. Or you can just be self-directed and do it on your own. And at the end, the program generates an action plan for you to follow that allows you to take these principles and ideas and put them into action. See, that's the key. And so it's a very exciting program.
Yeah, no, it sounds cool. And honestly, until we started talking about this, I didn't even know about it. So I'm definitely enrolling. Definitely enrolling. And, it's positiveness is infection. I'm just to share just a little story if I could. Yesterday, I went to lunch. And the hostess said, would you like to be in the bar area or in the restaurant area? And I said to her, it really doesn't matter. Which would be more convenient for you? And she said, no one's ever asked me that before. It's amazing though when you do say nice things and you do go out of way for people how they change.
Yeah, we live in a world right now where people are more busy and stressed than ever. I don't believe that they want to be negative, but we are because we're so busy and stressed. We have so much on our plate. We have more technology than ever. And I believe that's causing people to act in ways that aren't loving anymore, that aren't kind anymore. We're losing our civility in so many ways. We're so focused on surviving in ourselves that we're no longer being selfless and caring about others. But it is contagious. And when you put some intention to it, and you focus on it, it's amazing how you become a better teammate. I said there are 3 things that we control every day. Our attitude, positivity, our effort, how hard we work, and our actions to be a great teammate. How are we impacting our home team, our work team, and the people we interact with on a daily basis?
Super. So I know you have a free offer for everyone. I know it's a great one. Would you mind sharing with everyone what your free offer is?
Yeah, sure. For years, we've been doing the Energy Bus programs and talks and so forth and workshops, but we didn't have a lot from a training standpoint. So it was very exciting to me when my publisher said, hey, we want to create a training program based on the book. Are you okay with that? I said, sure. Anything that can help people ingrain those principles, I would be excited about. So they created this animated training program. And if you signed up just to even test it out, you get a free copy of my book, Soup. Soup is about building a culture of greatness. It was inspired by a real life story of Campbell Soup and how Doug Conant turned around Campbell Soup. He turns it around, he gets there literally, and they were a likely takeover target. Some said bankruptcy, the iconic Campbell Soup. And in comes Doug Conant to turn it around. First thing he does is let go of his 300 pessimistic, negative managers. I know that doesn't sound very positive, but he knew he needed the optimists to turn around. He knew that those pessimists didn't believe they can turn around Campbell Soup. So he brought in the optimists, and sure enough, they turned around Campbell Soup. So I was inspired by that story. I worked with Campbell Soup, and I wrote this book called Soup about how to create a great culture through engaged relationships and engaging the people you work with from the top of the organization all the way down to create this great organization. So that's free. It's a free as an ebook. If you just even want to try out the animated training program, and you go to energybustraining.com.
Cool. That sounds like a terrific gift. I have read the book. It is a great book. All your books are good. I mean, they're so easy to read, which I did not mention before, but it is terrific. All the details on how to get this offer are on everyone's screen right now. I do want to encourage people, because I'm sure as you've listened to this, you have other people you wish to share this with. So one, you can just, if you have time, share the link right now, but also remind people that you can buy the download of the entire series, this interview with any of your coworkers that you want to share. And of course, there might be other great interviews that you didn't get to see just because of time, that if you get the download, you get to see, of course, all of the interviews. John, I want to thank you. It's just terrific having you be part of this. And thank all the listeners for listening, and everyone have a great day. And look forward to tomorrow when we do another one of these.
It was an honor. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome.